it to be. So I'm going to go through here, and I see some people outside, and they have masks on. So I'm going to cut that out. Now you can have a theme about COVID. You can have a theme about going back to school. You can do all sorts of different things. Occupations. Maybe you just want to try to do something with this. So maybe I decide I want to do something about this whole COVID thing with the mask. So I'm going to look around and I'm going to find stuff. So I also want lettering in here. I don't want just pictures. I want you to have lettering as well. So we're going to get that in there. And I'm going to put head back to class. So if you want to use my theme, I'm okay with that. Just try to not make it exactly the same. And that's good. So I go through and I look for anything else that I can use. And I find it. So just so you see, this is where my paper is right here. I'm going to mark the four corners so you can see. And my theme is going to be on the mask. So what I'm going to do is I don't want to have just a plain background. Now remember, there's three things that are important in a collage. One is color, pattern, and layout. So literally what I'm doing is I'm just going like this. I'm going to put in some kind of a background. And remember, don't glue anything down until you're sure you have what you want. Okay, so don't glue anything down. Now notice that I'm going to use all of my paper. I'm going to try to use as much as I can. Now if I don't like this, I can always take it and I can flip it over and I can start again. But for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and use this. I'm not really wild about it, but I'm going to use it anyways. So now that I have this, I've gathered a bunch of stuff together, and I'm going to go ahead, and I know my theme is going to be about masks. So I had this old art book, and it had this picture. This is of Paul Gauguin. He's an artist, and it's a self-portrait. So you notice that it was like this, and I took it and I cut it. Remember, we're talking about pattern, color, and layout. So I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to do that. And I also told you that we have to have words in it. So what I'm going to do is, in the newspaper, I found this. So I'm going to trim this up. Not everything has to stay square. You can take things and curve it and turn it like this. And you can also cut around your letters if you want, and you can even break them up. So mask up, and that's not going to show up really well, so with the orange and everything. So I'm going to take and I'm going to go back, and I'm going to take this area and I'm going to make it solid so that that shows up a little bit more. So I have mask up. Then I also have, I found this thing where it says thumbs up, that students will be able to return to playing. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to cut this out, and I'm going to go around and kind of soften up my squares. And then he has his thumb, so I'm going to put that right there. Now honestly, I just went and got the newspaper and the paper, and this just really came together. It was not something that I was thinking about doing. I originally said I was going to do something with dealing with outside. So anyways, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and I found these pictures of these kids, and they all have a mask on. So I can try this and put some of these in if I want to. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. We're going to just test it out first and see if this goes. Personally, I don't think this really goes very well with this. It just kind of looks like a little scrapbook. So I am not going to use these little pictures. So I'm going to get rid of this, this, and this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, I've got my words, that was one thing. I have a background, that's another thing. I have my theme, and I'm going to lay this down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and I recommend you test this out first to see if it will work, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a mask on him. Okay, so I am drawing a mask on Gauguin. Now I can see that it's not going to work with marker. So I find something around the house, like a crayon or something, and you notice how I'm repeating the blue color. I'm not just using it one time, I'm repeating it several times. So now I've put a mask on him, okay, and it says mask up. That looks kind of plain, kind of simple. So maybe what I want to do is I want to take and I'm going to go around this with a marker, and I'm going to go around his ear like that, and I've got him wearing a mask. So I want people to know that this is a famous artist. So I found his name on the bottom here. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut it. And I don't know if I'll use the word self-portrait, but I'll try to somehow put his name in here. Maybe like that's his badge. And then to make this come into present times, because this is really old, I'm going to take this picture of these kids going back to school, but you can't really see the kids going back to school. So what you can do is you can take a blank piece of construction paper or whatever you want, and you can take and you can go behind it like this, and that might stick it up, make it look out a little bit more. Now remember, you can also not leave this so square. You can also take this and cut it into a crazy shape, and you can also draw back into your collage. Just because you think, oh, I've got my letters, I've got a theme, I've got my colors, I've got my layout, which is really important. So maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to just have it like this. So I have mask up, that's my theme, and this is Paul Gauguin. He's a famous artist, and this is his name badge. Maybe I'll even just draw a little pocket or something on him right here, so it looks like it belongs. Maybe I'll just put a color right behind here and then put his name over it. And so this is where his badge is, right here. And then this is the thumbs up. And then I want to bring it into modern times. So these are kids going back to school. Maybe I'll just trace around this to make this more noticeable, something like that. So once you have it all done, then you're going to start gluing. Now, get a scratch piece of paper and take everything off, and remember how you had it. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to start off with your big pieces first, the back pieces. So you're going to flip this over, and you're going to take the glue and you're going to go around the edges. Now you can also use a glue stick. I don't have a glue stick. I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to just lightly press the glue to the edges because I don't want my edges curling up. So then I'm going to take this and I'm going to place it where I think I want it. Now make sure your hands are clean. Okay, whatever you do, make sure your hands are clean. We don't want any glue showing up on this. Now as I'm doing this, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to cut this right here. So I'm making some modifications as I'm going along, and that's totally allowed. You go, you know, I want a little bit wider space between him and this background right here. So then I take this and I do the same exact thing. I put glue and then I just take my fingers and I just smear around like this. And then I glue it down. Okay? After you do that, then go with your next stuff that you're going to use. So this would be my next biggest piece. So then I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to go around the edges, and then I'm going to take and I'm going to smear it out. Make sure you keep your hands clean. And I'm going to glue this right here. Now I can see I got glue on this, so you can always take a damp paper towel and you can always take that and wipe it off very carefully and smear it around. I don't want any edges popping up. I don't want any edges popping up. Okay, and maybe you change your mind. Maybe after you look at the whole thing, you go, you know what? I don't want that in there. I don't like it. I want to have it where it's this old guy, this artist from way before any of us were born, and maybe I just want to put him in there and not have anything relate to being modern, which is fine. And then I'm going to just put his name right here, like that. And then my last one that I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put up, give a thumbs up on, and I'll let people figure it out. Okay, so here's my collage. Now I can see it's picking up right here. So what I'm going to have to do is let this dry, and then I'll go back and fix it.